Hi guys, this is Debbie. I'm back with more true crimes of criminal minds. If you want to watch an episode of Criminal Minds, it's based on a true story. This is the story, and the episode is called The Tall Man. It is season 14, episode 5. So this week, I've got another one with an urban legend of sorts and a mental disorder. Actually, two mental disorders. And thank God no one dies in this one, but not for trying. Before we get started, this one has kids, interviews with kids, and a 911 call. And I know some people can't handle that. So it's okay. If it's going to trigger you in any way, go ahead and skip this one, because I know that some people can't handle this, and your mental health is more important to me than likes or views, so I don't want to trigger anybody. So okay, here we go. Have you heard of the Slender-man? He's anywhere from 6 to 14 feet tall, and I think that means not like they don't know how tall he is. I think he shrinks and gets taller and shrinks and I think he can change his height. He wears a black suit with a white shirt and a red tie. He has no face and he has white skin. So he has no features at all. He's faceless and his skin is white. And no hair. It's just like a white ball of a head. And sometimes tendrils shoot out of his back. So like he has these tentacle things. He uses telepathy to communicate with children and lure them into the woods. He also emits radiation, and it will interfere with electronics like cameras, and it will also cause some people to get like a radiation sickness. And there's also a debate about whether he's good or bad. Is he kidnapping and using children as slave labor? Or is he helping children by taking them out of bad home lives or other bad situations? Is he real or just a creepypasta? Let's get into it. You can find all kinds of videos of Slender-man online. So far, I've found two types. The first, people dressing up as Slender-man to prank people.
Run. Run.
And the second, videos of people encountering Slender-man or catching him on film.
Dude, let's go back up to the... Dude, oh my god. Whoa, whoa.
Zoom in on that. Zoom in on that.
Whoa. What is that?
What is that? Zoom in on it. Dude, what the heck? We gotta get out of here.
We need to leave.
We gotta go get Steven though.
You could literally see him, dude. He's got that like white face, and there seems to be someone else with him. I don't know who that is. I don't know what it. I don't know, dude. All I know is that I'm freaking spooked right now.
This is just a quick bite test.
Good stuff.
So, as you can see, Slender-man has become a thing that has been reproduced over and over and over. He has been the subject of movies, video games, and even Halloween costumes and pranks. But how did it all get started? Who invented him, and how in the world would anyone think he was real? Slender-man has been around since 2009. He was created by Eric Knudsen, also known as Victor Surge, for the website Something Awful for a Photoshop contest. It was a contest to make a picture of something whose motivations could barely be comprehended, which caused unease and terror in the general population. So these two pictures was submitted to the photo contest. Slender-man does not, however, have one creator. Other people started layering on more characteristics. Knudsen says that he was inspired by Stephen King's The Mist. Other people have added the amnesia and the radiation he emits that causes glitches with technology and radiation sickness, among other characteristics. Unfortunately for 12-year-old Payton Leutner, two of her friends thought that he was real and decided that in order to prove it, they needed to kill someone. 12-year-old Anissa Weier was a huge fan of creepypastas. She would read them before bed to help herself fall asleep. Her favorite one was about Slender-man. When she was in 6th grade, she met Morgan Geyser and told her all about Slender-man and the other creepypastas. Morgan Geyser and Payton Leutner had been best friends since 4th grade. They called Payton Bella because in the 1st grade there was another Payton in the class. So if I say Bella, I'm talking about Payton. I might accidentally use them interchangeably, but Bella is Payton. Morgan was thought of as a strange kid and didn't have any friends, and Payton was the kind of person that liked to help people, and she became Morgan's friends because she didn't have any, and they were inseparable. In 6th grade, Morgan met Anissa, who was another loner with few friends. They quickly meshed due to being different and weird according to their classmates. Payton didn't like Anissa all that much, but tolerated her because Morgan liked her. May 16th, 2014, Morgan turned 12, and she was having a sleepover on Friday, May 30th to celebrate. That night, they went skating at Skateland and did normal little girl sleepover stuff, eating junk food, playing with their tablets and dolls. Typical 12-year-old behavior. They were giggling over their silly buddy making farting noises. What wasn't typical 12-year-old behavior was what Morgan and Anissa were planning to do to Payton. Remember I told you that Anissa was obsessed with creepypastas? Creepypastas are original horror stories that you can find on the internet. Stories that are shared and passed around and sometimes take on a life of their own. Some of them are pretty good if you're into that kind of thing. There's also a creepypasta wiki. Wikis are all over the internet on different topics. It's like a fan database. My favorite wiki, of course, is the Criminal Minds wiki, and I use it a lot. I use it to refresh my memory on the episodes or to find out stuff about comparing the true crime cases that are talked about on the episodes. And on the Creepypasta wiki, there's a button you can click and it will just serve up a random creepypasta for your enjoyment. And Anissa said she would do that to calm herself down and help herself fall asleep. And y'all, before you think that's weird, don't judge, because those of us who like that kind of thing do that. I used to fall asleep watching movies like Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street all the time, and I have never stabbed anyone. So, some of us are just wired a little different. So, Anissa told Morgan all about Slender-man. And here's where it gets weird, y'all. This one has 2 mental disorders. The first one, schizophrenia, you've likely heard of. It's voices and hallucinations. It's not extremely common, but it's more well known than some mental disorders. It usually occurs in late teens, early 20s, but in this case, it's early onset schizophrenia. And that is schizophrenia that begins before the age of 13, and it is much more rare. The second condition is folie à deux, a madness shared by 2. Also known as shared delusional disorder in the DSM-4. Now, if you don't know what the DSM-4 is, the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, it's kind of like the psychiatrist's Bible. If there's a psychiatric disorder, it's in there. And the number after DSM is the edition of the book. When I was nursing, I think we were on the DSM-3. So, folie à deux means madness shared by 2, but it can be more. Folie à I don't speak French. Folie à trois, folie à quatre, folie à famille would be a madness shared by family. So folie à trois would be madness shared by 3. Folie à quatre, madness shared by 4, and so on and so on. In the DSM-5, however, you won't find shared delusional disorder. It's not considered a separate disorder. It falls under the umbrella of just delusional disorder. But it usually happens when people that are isolated in some way, the 2 people are isolated in some way, and one of them has dependent personality disorder. So as I play the interview clips of these girls, try to figure out which girl has which disorder, and I'll tell you at the end. Anissa told Morgan about Slender-man and how he collects proxies, or servants. It's a tad confusing at this point, because while Anissa confirms she told Morgan about the creepypasta, she didn't know how to become a proxy. So Anissa has told Morgan everything she knows about Slender-man, yet all of a sudden, Morgan knows more than Anissa does. And Anissa just rolls with it. So it was Morgan's idea to become a proxy. And when Anissa asked her how they would do it, Morgan told her they would have to kill someone.
Tell me what happened. So, there's this website called the Creepypasta Wiki. Okay. It's full of like horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you through like online literature and all that. Okay. And there's one of them called Slender-man. It's like really Slender-man. It's Slender-man. Oh, Slender-man. Like a skinny guy. Yeah. Okay. And he has these proxies or servants, as people call them. Okay. Masky and Teddy. And Morgan said, "Hey, Anissa, we should be proxies." And I was like, okay, how would we do that? And that was around end of December, beginning of January. And a proxy again, what is a proxy? It's like a servant or like an apprentice. Okay, and they're a servant of who? The whichever they kind of don't have a choice. Slender's like the really big, he's like head of it all, supposedly. Okay, so Slender's the big guy. Yeah. The top guy. And the proxies are his puppets. Yes, that's how people put their puppets.
Oh, okay. Boy, I never even heard this before. Okay. All right. So back in December or January, Morgan told you like, hey, we should be proxies, type thing.
Yeah.
And you said what? Like,
I said, okay, how would we do that? And she said, we have to kill Bella.
okay. Okay. And do you know why she said that? Like, why she said that?
Because we had to supposedly prove ourselves worthy to Slender.
What did that do for you? Is that to get Slender to like you? Or to feel important?
Technically, if you're a proxy, you have to live in, supposedly you live in Slender Mansion and take orders directly from him.
So that'd be neat to you? You would enjoy that, or you think that's kind of cool? Or at the time?
At the time it was really cool, but I wanted to prove all skeptics wrong.
Okay.
After a fun-filled night of skating, dolls, dress-up, etc., they decided to go to sleep early. And Payton thought that was unusual because at other sleepovers, they would try to stay up. And usually all night. They at least try to stay up as late as possible. So Payton thought that was a little weird, but she thought, well, maybe Morgan's just tired. So they just all went to sleep. And the plan was for Morgan to set an alarm on her Kindle. And she was going to put her headphones on so it would only wake her up. And then when she woke up, she would wake up Anissa. And then they would duct tape Payton's mouth. And then they were going to stab her in the neck. And Morgan told the detective that Payton had given her duct tape for her birthday. Now, I don't know if she asked for duct tape for her birthday, but that's kind of a really strange present to give a 12-year-old. So I'm thinking she probably asked for it. Now, if she was a crafty kid and it was pretty duct tape, because they do sell duct tape with designs on it. I mean, I'm a scrapbooker. I think those are beautiful duct tape, and I could think of lots of things to do in a scrapbook with pretty duct tape. But I don't know. I think that's really weird that a 12-year-old gets duct tape for their birthday and then wants to use it to kill the person that gave it to her. I don't know. This is such a strange story. Anyway. So when Anissa woke up the next morning, she was relieved because it hadn't happened. And she thought Morgan was just being nice and giving her one more morning to live. So Anissa and Morgan, they were up first. They were alone. And they decided they were going to do it at the park. And so when Payton got up, everything was normal. They were acting like normal little girls. And they asked Morgan's mom if they could go to the park. And she said yes. And it wasn't a request that was out of the ordinary on a warm, sunny Saturday morning. They knew that there was a drain in the bathroom at the park. And they decided that that would be a good place to stab her, because the blood would just run out of the drain. So Morgan took a knife from her kitchen and they set out to the park. Anissa claims to have tried to knock Payton unconscious while she was sitting on the toilet by smashing her head against the wall, but it didn't work. Now, I want to know how they set that up, because I didn't really understand her explanation about how they got her in the bathroom and then went into the same stall as her and started bashing her head against the wall. This whole part of the story doesn't even make any sense to me. I don't think this part of the story actually mattered as much to the detectives as what the end result of the whole thing was. But it's extremely confusing to me. So Anissa had heard somewhere that it was easier to unalive someone if they were unconscious. So that's why she tried to knock her out by smashing her head against the wall. But she didn't go unconscious. So plan number 2 didn't work. So then Anissa said that Morgan kind of freaked out a little bit. So she and Morgan went like out of earshot from Payton so they could talk. Why didn't Payton just like get up and run right then? Was there like no room for her to run away from them? Or did they have her like boxed in to the bathroom or what? Like, I don't know. But she's at that point, you'd think she'd be like getting weirded out or scared or something. But no, they decided to go into the woods to bird watch. And off they went. And then bird watching ended up turning into hide and go seek. Payton and Anissa hid, and Morgan was the seeker. Morgan had the knife. So Anissa yelled, "Now go ballistic," and they both jumped on Payton and held her down. Morgan stabbed her 19 times, and one stab was less than a millimeter away from stabbing her heart. That's less than the width of a hair. Less than a millimeter. Less than the width of a hair. A hair. A hair. Can you even see that? It's so little. A hair. She was stabbed in the diaphragm, stomach, and liver, as well as many other places. Morgan whispered, "I'm sorry," in Payton's ear before she started stabbing her. And Payton said, "I trusted you." Payton tried to stand up, and they told her to lay down. She wouldn't bleed as fast if she was laying down. And they would go for help. They didn't go for help. Payton was able to drag herself to the dead end of Big Bend Road, where she was found by a cyclist. He called 911, and EMS was able to get her to the hospital in time to save her life. Her blood pressure was dangerously low due to blood loss. She was having trouble breathing and couldn't see. A detective showed up and rode in the ambulance in order to get information because they didn't think she was going to make it. She was able to tell him who did this to her.
What's the address of your emergency?
Waukesha County, Millennium. Transfer over a caller on Big Bend at the dead end just south of Rivera. And he came upon a 12-year-old female. She appears to be stabbed.
She appears to be what?
Stabbed.
Stabbed?
Correct.
Okay.
Are you still there? Yes.
Hi, sir. So are you with this 12-year-old female?
Yeah, she says she's having trouble breathing. She said she was stabbed multiple times.
Stabbed multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, are you with her right now?
Yes.
Is she awake?
She's awake.
Is she breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. She said she can take shallow breaths. She's alert.
Okay, stay with her. We're sending the police department. Don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, sir. We're sending officers.
Okay.
Is there any assailant around?
I didn't even look. I don't see anybody.
Is there any bleeding going on?
Her clothing has got blood on it.
Where are the wounds? Do you see where the wounds are?
No, I don't know if I should be rolling her over and checking or not.
Okay, just stay with her and just let me know if she's conscious or alert or stops breathing or anything. Hold on, I'm going to talk to the ambulance. Police are also en route.
I'm bothering you at all? You want shade? Okay. Who did that to you? Or don't you want to talk? If it's better not to talk, then don't talk. With your energy.
Payton was in surgery for 6 hours and in the hospital for 7 days. It took a full month for her to completely recover. Today, she's happy and healthy and actually thanks Morgan for the life she has now. She says she would be a different person today if this hadn't happened, and she wants to go into healthcare now because of it. So they didn't get help. They just left Payton and set out on foot to the Slender Mansion, where they would become proxies. This mansion is located in the Nicollet National Forest. The girls were picked up almost 5 hours later on the side of the road. They had walked 4.9 miles or 7.9 kilometers. From where they were found, it was 200 more miles, 320 kilometers to Nicollet Forest. This is what they told the detectives.
So the Anissa Lake fell on? I can't really tell who Anissa likes and doesn't like. So you think she dislikes Ellen? Probably, yeah. She always calls her, I don't want to say it. Who? She always calls her a bitch. Why? I don't know. Because she's being one? I'm just assuming. I don't really know what the definition is. So do you like Bella pretty much? Have you ever been mad at her? She was my only friend for a long time. Because... Why would you hurt your only friend? It was necessary. What do you mean necessary? I don't know. Somebody told you that? Mm-hmm. Does Anissa have any other friends? Mm-hmm. I hate her other friends. Where are other friends? Caitlin's nice. There's this girl named Frankie, and she seems to hate me. And there's this girl, and I don't know her name. So Frankie is the one that doesn't like you? Frankie doesn't like me. She said I was creepy. All I do is smile. So you guys have been, when you say you guys have been playing this from December, when did you decide that you were going to do this today? In December, she said. But how did you know that May 31st, 2014 was... We didn't know it was going to be May 31st. We knew it was going to be at my birthday sleepover. You have no idea how difficult it was not to tell anyone. Truth be told, I wanted to be locked up so that I couldn't hurt her, but that time has passed and now I'm in here because we were careless. I knew this would happen. I knew we'd get in trouble. So you wanted to get locked up so you would get in trouble? I didn't really genuinely want to be locked up, but at one point I sort of did. It seemed... So you guys decided a while ago that on the sleepover night that this was going to be good? Yeah. Why do you think it was your sleepover night that... Because it was, we would all be together. It was a flawless plan, actually. So Morgan and I were also debating who does the deed, and at first it was me, but like I said, I was too squeamish and said, no, you do it. So Morgan said, whatever you want. So like I finally just had enough and said it now, because I was starting to get a little freaked out. And then Morgan jumped on top of Bella and started stabbing her repeatedly, and that's when I turned around because I couldn't stand to see that. Okay. And then the whole time Payton was screaming in agony, saying stuff like, I hate you guys, I'll never forgive you, and I trusted you. Still. And, sorry. So we told her we were gonna get help, but we really weren't. We were gonna run and let her pass away.
Who in their right mind would believe a story like that? Killing someone to become a servant to a monster? Well, that's just the point. They weren't in their right minds. Not only that, they were only 12 years old. Not even capable of critical thinking at that age. Listen to some of the questions that the girls asked the detectives.
Do you know what happened to Bella?
What happened to Bella? Is Bella your friend?
Mm-hmm. She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
Stabbed? I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
I don't know.
She wants to take her to the hospital. Maybe no.
What? I was just wondering. Can I ask a quick question? Sure. If I just wanted to know how far I've walked, because I'm usually not very athletic and just want to know. I'm trying to think of someplace close to where I live. You know the Kmart that closed down in Waukesha? Off of Sunset? I do. I walked from there, and I walked from the condos close to there, the marshy area, all the way to Steinhoffel's, to where the sheriff found us. Okay. Do you know how far that would be? You know, I'm not real certain. I can just, why don't I just try to get some specifics as to where, because I honestly don't know where the deputies found you, and I'm being 100% honest with you. And this whole time that I'm going to be talking today, I'm going to be very honest, and I'm not sharing any tricks or anything, okay? I can see that you're upset, and, but I will try to find out that information for you. Are you going to put me in prison and I'm going to rot and die? Please don't cut off my head. It's just a window, and everything on the outside.
In Wisconsin, minors do not have to have parents present during questioning. They get read their rights and the questioning begins. I don't like that. I really, really don't like that. I mean, I get that parents shouldn't interfere in an interview, especially if your child's going to be tried as an adult. But I would at least want to be in there. But I guess their rationale is that maybe your child's not going to tell the whole story if you're in there. So I guess I understand why, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Also, in Wisconsin, if minors over the age of 10 commit certain crimes, they are charged as adult. And at this point, they didn't know whether or not Payton was going to live. So it could have been a murder charge, but it ended up just being attempted murder. So they were charged as adults, but their attorneys never stopped trying to get it back to the juvenile court. But they did get to go to a juvenile facility, the Washington County Jail. Anissa at first pleaded not guilty, but later changed her plea to guilty. She was diagnosed with shared psychotic disorder, so there was a trial to decide if she would be in prison or a mental health institution. Her attorney argued that the girls were led to believe that Slender-man was real.
Anissa has already admitted that she and Morgan attempted to kill Payton in order to protect herself and her family from immediate and inescapable harm from Slender-man.
When Morgan said to you that if we don't do this for Slender, our families and loved ones are going to be killed, do you honestly believe that? Well, yeah, because he could be anywhere from 6 feet to 14 feet tall. He's, like I said, a tall guy who constantly wears a suit with a red tie. He doesn't have a face. His skin is white. And at his own will, he can, like, exploit these tendrils from his back and, like, strangle his victims. And from what the creepypasta Wiki said, he targets children most. Okay. So I was really scared, knowing that Slender could easily kill my whole family in 3 seconds. When Morgan...
The two believed that the only way that they could prevent that was for them to become proxies for Slender-man. But to prove to Slender-man that they were worthy to become proxies, they had to kill someone close to them. After doing so, they had to leave behind the families that they both loved and cherished and risk their fate at the hands of Slender-man. How did Anissa become to believe this? Anissa and Morgan discovered Slender-man on the internet in November of 2013. They were both 11 years old at that time. On Creepypasta Wiki, they learned that Slender-man is one of many characters that prey on primarily children. Along with Slender-man, there's Jeff the Killer and Zalgo, to name a few. As they explored the wiki, they uncovered evidence that Jeff the Killer was real. One of the attractions of that Creepypasta wiki site is the intent on the part of the creator to make accounts of sightings of Slender-man and characters like Jeff the Killer appear authentic. There are transcripts of police interviews of people who have seen Slender-man. There are transcripts of psychiatrist interviews of people that have seen Slender-man. On the wiki, Anissa and Morgan found videotape testimonials of older, sincere-looking adults recounting their sightings of Slender-man in the real world. Anissa and Morgan found articles from a newspaper clipping confirming that Jeff the Killer existed.
I've got to say, I was kind of shocked when I heard that. This is one of those stories that fascinates me, and I've watched the documentary on HBO more than once, but I had never heard that. And it reminds me of the Blair Witch Project. Back in 1999, we all thought that was real found footage. Blair Witch Project was the very first found footage horror movie. Now, they're everywhere. You see them all the time. It's just a way to present a story. But Blair Witch was the first, and everybody thought it was real. It was presented as real. It was presented like it really happened. And that's what we thought. There was even a documentary that was on TV before the movie came out in the theater, and it was set up like it was a real news documentary. And I don't remember how much time passed before it came out that it wasn't real. But, I mean, it was, I don't even remember time. It was months, maybe even a year. It was a while. And when we found out it wasn't real, my teenage niece, I can remember, I still can't believe she said this. She said, I was so mad when I found out they were still alive. And I was like, what? Listen to what you just said. And she goes, you know what I mean. Yeah, what she meant was, I was so mad when I found out all of that was fake. Which is still not great, but I understood what she meant. So, the companion news special was aired on Sci-Fi. So, I mean, that should have clued me in, but it looked so real. Like they were talking to the parents of these filmmaker college kids that were lost in the forest. You know, everything looked up and up. They had police interviews. They had evidence.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
The
Blair Witch Project, the most intense theatrical experience of the summer, has spawned the most frightening investigation on television.
I don't feel too comfortable with seeing the last few days of my brother's life on video.
Sci-Fi presents the uncensored investigation, Curse of the Blair Witch. Saturday at 9 p.m.
So imagine being a kid and seeing interviews with adults and police reports that look real, etc. And so I'm not saying that it would prompt the average 12-year-old to kill, but it can make the average 12-year-old believe it was real. So add mental illness to that and you might have a problem. Despite the mental illness, I do believe that the girls knew what they were doing was wrong. Morgan told Payton that she was sorry before she started stabbing her. The girls had iPads that were issued to them by their school, and both iPads had searches for creepy pastas on them. Anissa told Morgan to clear her search history. Morgan checked out library books about crime scenes, prison, and murder. When police searched Morgan's bedroom, they found mutilated dolls and disturbing drawings. Anissa claimed that none of this would have happened if it hadn't been for Morgan. However, that's not what Morgan told the detective.
I didn't want to do this.
Why did you do it then?
I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't.
So you said that you were afraid?
Mm-hmm.
What were you afraid of?
Pretty much anything. Because Anissa had already, just out on her. I was hoping that if we played hide and seek, she could forget that.
That who would forget?
Anissa. She started was just now, kitty, and I was like, oh my goodness, no. And I don't know what would have happened because Bella would have freaked out, and then Anissa would have freaked out at me, and then they would all be mad at me. And, I didn't want to get hurt.
You didn't want to get hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Did you think about how Bella would feel if she got hurt?
I avoided that thought. Anissa said something about us having to.
Morgan also pleaded not guilty and was sent to the same juvenile facility. There, the guard saw her talking to herself. She claimed to be talking to Mr. Spock from Star Trek, Professor Snape from Harry Potter, and her imaginary friends Maggie and Sev. She also claimed to see a man made out of smoke or ink behind her in mirrors. His name was It. She pretended to be a cat, saw unicorns, kept ants as pets, and saw colors melting down walls. And she was still talking to Slender-man. She was relocated to Winnebago Mental Health Institute to determine her competency to stand trial. On October 22nd, 2014, she was diagnosed with early onset childhood schizophrenia. It's harder to diagnose because it could be autism or ADHD. Now, I'm a nurse, so I'm the last person that would blame anyone for being ill. No one wants to be ill or wants their child to be ill. But Morgan's dad was schizophrenic, and Morgan had told her parents since the age of 3 that she was having auditory and visual hallucinations. Now, coming from a 3-year-old, that doesn't mean a whole lot, because 3-year-olds have, that's when their imagination is starting and they start making stuff up. But having a schizophrenic dad, you'd think that's something that you would keep tabs on. Her teachers at school knew she was running away from Snape and scaring the other kids. Her parents knew about Slender-man, but didn't realize that she thought he was real. Just saying, talk to your kids. Communication works. You need to know what your kids are doing. You need to talk to them. You need to know what their interests are. know what they think about things. You have to know these things with your kids. So after they medicated Morgan and the medicine started working, she started showing some remorse and some guilt for what she did. So she was returned to the county jail on March 23rd, 2016. But during her trial, her mental health declined again and she went back to Winnebago. Anissa was charged with second-degree attempted murder. She was found not guilty by reason of insanity. She was sentenced to 25 years to life with a mandatory 3 years confinement in a state forensic mental health institute until she's symptom-free or 37 years old, which I don't understand that. 25 years to life should mean 25 years to life. So why is it 37 years old? I don't understand these sentencing things. I don't. Life is life. I don't understand. Conditional release before 37 requires GPS monitoring. She must request permission from the court before she leaves the county. She has to live with her dad. She must take all psych meds prescribed to her, and she must go to all psych appointments accompanied by her caseworker until she is 37 years old. She was released on September 13th, 2021. She was able to have the GPS monitor removed on September 11th, 2023. Morgan was charged with first-degree attempted murder. She accepted a plea in order to avoid a trial. She was also found not guilty by reason of insanity. She received the max, 40 years to life, with a mandatory 3 years confinement at a forensic mental health institute until no symptoms or until the age of 53. Again, I don't understand why it's till life if there's an age cutoff, but whatever. Her conditions of release are the same as Anissa's. She was denied release in 2024. The girls were sent to the same facility, Winnebago, but they were not allowed to see each other. So this is why Morgan was not released. And I don't even know what to say about this. Actually, I have a lot to say about this. Okay, Morgan is now saying that she was never psychotic or delusional. She says that her dad was essaying her, and she did all of this as a way to get away from her family, and that now she's telling the truth because her dad died last year. So her dad died in 2023. And this is why the judge denied release. And I mean, yeah, if you think about it, that's pretty manipulative. I mean, she could have told her mom, a teacher, a doctor, a counselor. Like, there's so many other things the cops, there's so many other things she could have done other than kill her best friend and rope another kid into helping her. So she would go to a mental institution to get away from her dad. So it's like she's being manipulative to get out. So the judge said that she's still a threat to herself or others. And I gotta say, I kind of agree. She's a scary kid. Well, technically she's an adult now because she's 21, but she's scary. So I was curious as to how her dad died. And I couldn't find it anywhere. But I did find 2 obituary pages for him. And neither one gave the official cause of death. And one of them had nothing but wonderful, nice, sweet condolences for him and the family. However, the other site had horrible, awful, nasty messages with people calling him the P word. And one of the messages suggested that he had unalived himself. Now, that is not an official cause of death. It's just an internet rumor. But the reason why I said all of that is to say this. Please, and I'm not accusing y'all of doing anything, but please, 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 don't ever do that because of something that you see on my channel. Because no matter what someone does or why, they're all human beings and they all have someone who loves them. Because I can't imagine what Morgan's mom and brother must feel when they see messages like that. This whole thing has ruined so many lives. Payton's parents have divorced. Morgan's dad has supposedly unalived himself. Anissa's parents have divorced. I hope Payton's in therapy. I mean, you know, we know Anissa and Morgan are in therapy. And I don't know about... I know Morgan has a little brother. Payton, I think, has a little brother. I don't know about them. So... you know, this has ruined multiple lives. So this, you know, I just pray for these families because they have been through it. So please don't ever harass, you know, if any of these people that I talk about are still alive, victims or perpetrators, please don't dox them, don't harass them, don't nothing. Please, please, please. Okay, that's it for this one. Next week, I'm going to be doing something a little different. At least I'm going to attempt to do it because it is different. It is out of my comfort zone. So we'll see how it goes. I am going to stream Danny Rolling's trial. He was a Gainesville Ripper, and I did a video on him. I also lived through his reign of terror in Gainesville, and I have never watched his trial. So, Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, if anyone is interested in that, please come join me. And I will be doing it every day except for Friday until I get through it. Because Fridays I have a prior engagement at 10 a.m. So Monday through Thursday, I don't know how long it is or how long it's going to take. He pled guilty, but this is the penalty trial. And I know the outcome. And you should too if you saw my video. So if you don't know anything about the Gainesville Ripper, watch my video and then next week, watch the trial with me. And I have no idea how I'm going to react because sometimes I get bad triggered and cry and or get mad. So it might be entertaining to watch me short circuit. Because I have no idea what's going to happen. That's why I picked this one for my first. Okay, y'all. Remember, be kind to people, love your family, and Jesus loves you. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.